Hello YouTube, happy Monday. Welcome back to the channel. So in yesterday's video, we started the process of filing a corporation in the sunny state of California directly through the Secretary of State without using LegalZoom. You can save yourself some money through this. Now, if you choose to use LegalZoom, sure, go ahead. Use LegalZoom. But this way, you're going directly through the Secretary of State, and that's all LegalZoom does. Okay, so we have a little bit of a chart here that helps us keep on track as we go through this process. So the first step, again, is choosing a business address, and you want to choose the correct type of business address. So if virtual office is the only option that you have, then you want to ensure that you choose a virtual office space that leases physical offices as opposed to just having a mailbox, etc. UPS definitely not, um, or even the post office boxes at the post office. You don't want to choose any of those. You want to make sure that you choose a virtual office program that's operated inside of a physical location, okay, or a physical office space where they're offering um, office spaces that you can lease. All right, so that's going to be your goal. If you have to start off from a virtual office, then your immediate goal would be to grow the business enough to where you can actually have your customers and your clientele meet you at an office. And then finally, you want to make sure you set up a Gmail account, just a general Gmail account that has your first initial, last name at Gmail. And this is just for purposes. So as you go through the process of incorporating through the Secretary of State, you just want to have an email that you can communicate back and forth with the Secretary of State or any other state entity. So as you go down the line here, you're going to find out, and we'll be walking through this process step by step as well. When you get to the county level, that's where you file your DBAs, or even when you set up a website, and we'll be going through that process as well. You want to have a Gmail account that's only for business purposes. I know you probably have quite a few different email accounts, but you want to have a Gmail that's set up for just business purposes. And then when you set up the website, then you can have a first initial dot last name at xyzincorporated.com, which is a much more professional email. And a lot of times, as you set up different accounts, whether they be wholesale accounts, resale accounts, or even business credit accounts, they will require that your email be a .com email address. They will not accept like a Gmail account, although it's at gmail.com, but they want the .com to be associated with the name of the business. And I hope I didn't confuse you there. Okay, so step one, you want to make sure you have a business address, virtual office, physical office space. Set up a general Gmail account just for the sake of going through the process of filing your documentation. Step two, which we did yesterday, you go to the Secretary of State of whatever state that you reside in or whatever state you'll be conducting business in, and you file your articles of corporation if you're a corporation, or our articles of organization if you're a limited liability company or LLC. Once that's been processed and you've paid your fees, whatever they are, then you'll receive back from the Secretary of State a filed, a stamp filed article of incorporation. It's only one page with a corporate charter number. After that's been completed, the next step is to file a statement of information, which essentially is your officers list, and that's what we'll be covering today. Step three would be to go to the irs.gov website, is where you would get your EIN number or federal tax ID number. Um, again at that irs.gov website. Once all that's complete, then you'll order your stock, your corporate stock and seal kit. And remember, the seal kit is the signature of the corporation. Okay, and it's a little embossed seal. So what you would do, and we'll go through this as well, not in this video, but maybe in the next video, you'll order a stock and seal kit, and that's where you get your stock certificates with the corporation's name on it, and you'll have a seal, a little embossing seal that also has the corporation's name on it, along with the year that the corporation was established and the charter number. Once you have that, or as you're waiting for the stock and seal kit to come back, then you can go ahead and order your corporate resolution templates. And you want to make sure that you order the templates that are applicable to the state that you reside in. Okay, so not all resolutions, if you're in California, then the resolutions for California may or may not work. Definitely, they probably won't work in, let's say, Texas or New Mexico or Arizona, something like that. Okay, so just make sure that you're ordering the resolutions that apply to the state that you reside in and that you're doing business in. Now, before we get into filing our statement of information, I just wanted to point out a few things here. We're back at the California Secretary of State's website now. You can see there Shirley N. Weber, PhD, California Secretary of State. That's who our Secretary of State is. And here are the business search results. So you can actually go into this section of the Secretary of State's website. Again, this is all public record and it's free to do this. You just go to business search at the Secretary of State .gov's website. We're in California. As you can see here in the search bar here, this is business search. Now, once you click on that, it brings you to the search results. And you can enter in a general name before you actually get to this screen. The general name that I chose here was management company. But I wanted to point a few things out to you here. First thing is, as I stated, once your articles are completely filed, then you will receive a charter number or an entity number. And it usually starts with a C here in the state of California. So if you see, as you go down, they all start with C's. And then the registration date, the date that the articles were filed and accepted by the Secretary of State, and then it'll show a status. So as long as the corporation is in good standing, it will show an active status. That's what you're seeing here. Now, when remember I told you in the last video that there is a $800 a year tax that needs to be paid to the Franchise Tax Board of Southern California or of California. When you do not pay that, then this status becomes this. They suspend the corporation. Okay, now it doesn't mean that that corporation cannot be brought back, but you have to pay the fees, the $800 fee, and if there's any outstanding arrears or overages that need to be paid, you have to pay that as well. And then in the state of California, you pay a $30 reinstatement fee to bring the corporation status back to active. Now, another thing I want to show you here under the status section here, or column, is dissolved. And what that means here is that this particular corporation was dissolved through a bankruptcy. Okay, so just kind of understand what's happening there. And then surrender means that they just surrendered the name. They're no longer doing business. This was actually a Texas corporation that got qualified to do business in California. So remember I told you in the last video, doesn't matter what state that you reside in or where the home office is located, you can do business in any state that you choose. You just have to go through the Secretary of State and pay those foreign corporation fees, and then you'll be able to conduct business in that state. But you always have to go through the Secretary of State of whatever state it is you want to do business in. Of course, the entity name. Remember here, key takeaway point here is to keep the name general. So you notice here that Monterey Capital Management. Personally, I would take that capital out because when you talk about capital and you're going after business credit of any sort, if they think that you're a capital management company, which translates to money, then that's high risk. That's a really high risk business. So I would take that capital out and I would have just left it Monterey Management Incorporated. 405 Station Management Corporation, A&R Management Corporation. So you get the idea. You want to use something like management. I wouldn't have used healthcare here. I would have just left it American Management Corporation or something like that, or Management Inc. INC. Okay, so that's in that section. Of course, the jurisdiction is California, with the exception of this Texas corporation that got qualified to do business in California. Now, remember I told you the agent of process of service is public record. You see all these people here that have their first and last name. Now, these people may be attorneys. They may be lawyers because you can go to a lawyer or attorney and have them file a corporation for you. Yes, this is some of the stuff that I used to do, or that I do for myself, actually. Um, but when you go to an attorney or a lawyer, well, welcome to $3,500. That's what they're going to charge you to file your corporation. But in addition to that, typically what comes with that is a 6-month retainer or maybe even 1 year retainer. Just depends on what the attorney wants to offer for their services. Okay, but the key takeaway here is, remember, this is public record, so it shows the full name. All right, and this is how we track you down. So become the needle in the haystack, and we've already discussed that. Okay, so we're now at the Statement of Information page on the Secretary of State's website. So I want you to keep this in mind, that you cannot file a Statement of Information unless you have already filed a corporation and it has a charter number or entity number. Okay, so how you get to this page is you click on File Corporation Statement of Information, and it takes you to step 1, which is file your entity. So we're just going to enter in a general name here, and we're just going to randomly pick a corporation that is active, just so for the sake of this exercise, I can take you through the steps here. Now, what you would type in this search criteria would be the the actual name of your corporation. Okay, so we're just going to use a random name here, station. We'll click search, and we're going to choose a active corporation, which is let's choose this Action Station Maintenance Inc. Active Station Maintenance Inc. It's active, been active since 1980. Good job. Only thing here again, I would change that. I would take that first and last name out of there, because again, if something happens here, then we have the name of the person here. This is an agent of process of service, and most likely that's going to be the owner of this particular corporation. All right, so we've chosen this one. They have a charter number here or an entity number. That's good. We're going to go ahead and click this box, and we'll click on File Statement of Information. Now, the statement of information is good on this particular corporation, but we're just going to use this as an example, just so I can take you through this process. Now, the great thing about this, guys, is for many years, as far back as I can remember, going back to 2003, to file a statement of information used to be $25. It's only $5 now. Five whole dollars to file a statement of information or an officer's list with with the Secretary of State of California. It just a side note. This is always exciting to me because it's actually cheaper, guys, to start a business as it is to get a career, a lasting career, right? If you want to really, you know, further yourself, of course you go to college and you get a nice size student loan, and then you have interest in all those years that you have to try to get it paid back. I'm not speaking negatively against that, but what I'm doing is comparing the two. It's cheaper to start a business as opposed to starting a career per se. So but yeah, it's just $5 here to file a statement of information, which is your officers list. So we'll go ahead and accept the California Secretary of State's online filing service privacy warning and terms and conditions of use. We'll go ahead and click that. If we don't, we can't move forward. So click next. Here's the entity name. Of course, this is where your corporation's name will be. It'll have the entity number. Is this a nonprofit? No, it's not. And the jurisdiction is California, meaning that this is a California corporation. Now, if you're looking to file a nonprofit organization, you would also do that at the Secretary of State. Nonprofits is where you get into your 501c3s and so on. Okay, and that's just a exempt status from paying taxes. I am no way an attorney. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not an attorney. I am a paralegal, but I'm not a tax attorney or a CPA. So I would definitely encourage you to, if you're venturing down the road of nonprofit organizations, I would definitely point you in the direction of a CPA or even a tax attorney um, to get the information that you need in pertaining to that or any tax information. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click next. Of course, so this is a principal executive office. Where's the principal executive office located? It's located in the United States of America. The corporation, we're going to go ahead and enter in just our general street address here, 123 Jackson Street, located in Los Angeles. Now keep in mind, this is the same address that we used for the corporation filing. All right, and then the state is going to be California. Zip code, I think we used 92882, so we'll use that again. Is the mailing address the same as the principal executive office address? Yes, it is. And so that automatically populates for you. Do you have a principal office in California? Yes, we do. Principal California office is just asking, is the principal office the same as the executive office? And yes, it is. We'll scroll down. We'll go ahead and click next. All right, so here's where you are now populating the officers of the corporation. So chief executive officer, of course, everyone wants to be a CEO. Now, remember, public record here. So what do? First initial, last name. And then we're going to use the address of the principal executive office, which is our 123 Jackson Street. The secretary. Now, the secretary can either be you or it can be another person of your choice, whomever. I want you to understand this, though. Using the United States or the corporation, the United States of America, when our president, in the event that we go to war, hope we don't, but you will see the president change roles. He will go from being the president of the United States and he will issue an executive order to go to war, but he will sign that executive order as the commander in chief. Okay, so I'm using that example because you can have multiple titles. Sometimes you'll see CEO slash founder of a corporation. Okay, so you can hold multiple offices under this corporation. So if you don't have a secretary, then you become the secretary. And of course, this can be changed at any time. We're going to still use the same principal office address and then the CFO. It's going to be you as well. First name, first initial, last name, and we're using the principal executive office there as well. Okay, and then we click next. So you have a CEO, you have a director, you have a secretary, or you have a CEO, you have a chief financial officer, and you have a secretary, and they always want to see one director listed on the articles or the statement of information as well. So we'll go ahead and enter our first initial last name there, and we will use the principal executive office. Are there any additional directors that we like to add? No. If there is, then you can just change this to whatever number of directors you like to add, and then they'll pop up an opportunity for you to list that name, the name of that director. Are there any board of directors vacancies? Zero. We'll go ahead and click next. Agent of service of process, we know we're using an individual. It's going to be the same person. We're using the principal address. This is where any documentation related to any proceedings or court issues will be mailed to. Using the same city, state, and zip code. I'll just scroll down and make sure there's nothing else, and we'll go ahead and click next. So this is the submission review. Before you actually send this over to the Secretary of State, I just want to make sure that you have your entity name. It won't be this action station. It'll be your actual entity name or corporation name listed there. It'll have the entity number again. It's not a nonprofit. This is a for-profit corporation, C corporation, jurisdictions in California. Has all the business addresses listed there. The officers. You see that first initial last name? That is how you want to get this done. Directors, service of process. There's the agent. Type of business. Remember, we want to keep this a management company. So we list management of companies. All right. And there's, when we get to the Dun and Bradstreet, we're going to go through this as well, is establishing an account with Dun and Bradstreet. Okay. There is a SIC code. S as in Sam, I as in Indian, C as in Charlie. A SIC code for management of companies. That's why we use it this way. All right, and that's the type of business that this corporation is. Now you can go ahead and name it XYZ Trucking if you choose to, but that's going to pigeonhole your corporation. It's going to force you to have to file another corporation when you get another business idea. DBAs are much cheaper to file as opposed to a corporation. Okay, and you will see that as we go through this process. Email address. Remember, we're just establishing a Gmail just for the sake of getting the filings done. But once we are ready to go to the next step and apply for business credit, or actually, the best idea would be to have your website set up even before you establish your Dun and Bradstreet account, and you go and set all that stuff up. Okay, so we have a gmail.com address just for the sake of getting this part done. Pending labor judgments against any member or manager. That just means if you weren't treating your employees the best, and one of your employees sued you, and you have a pending case with that. In this case, most likely it's going to be no, but you can never tell. All right, so electronic signature, and this is where we put our first initial last name. We'll go ahead and click next. See, guys, $5 to get this done. $5 whole. Okay? And once you enter in that information there, you click submit and you wait. Okay? You wait. So, that's the end of this process. I want to take you back though to the business programs page, and if you go to current processing dates for business filings, which is number 10 option, go ahead and left click on that. It's going to show you what the process times are right now. So if we were to file this this filing today, we would go ahead and click on corporate filings, and then we would go down to statement of information, and it's going to give us an idea of how many days we have to wait before our filing is completed. So we submit it online. Where they are now, they being the Secretary of State, they're processing uh, information that was sent via online back to March 9th. That's what they're working on today. E-forms, they're at March 7th. In person, they're on the 25th of February. So just goes to show online is a much faster process as opposed to walking into the Secretary of State, which I think they are open for that now. But before, we were going through the issues that we were going through, the health concerns and so on, you weren't able to walk into the Secretary of State at all. Okay, so if you're filing an LLC, then you would click on this as well, and they show all the filing, the process filings that they're working on currently. So um, 310, statements of information, any amendments, not applicable, mergers, conversions, anything like that. Formations, they're on 3.9. All right, so let's go up to corporation here, 3.9 as well. Okay, so that's it for filing your statement of information. The next video will be applying for an EIN. So we'll visit the irs.gov website and go through that whole process. All right. So I hope this is helping you out. I'm really enjoying taking you through the step-by-step process of how you file a corporation from beginning to end without using LegalZoom. Thanks for your time. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Comment, share, subscribe. Any and all things help. And if this information was helpful to you, leave a tip. You can Cash App at 18 Lucky Vlogs. Cash App at 18 Lucky Vlogs. See you on the next video. Success to you.